very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on the time zone that you have joined us today from. I, Ishita Mathur, I'm your host for today, and I'm delighted to bring to you this webinar in partnership with Medplum on building AI and FHIR-First clinical platforms with Medplum. So, before we begin, let me give you a quick background on who we are and what we do here at Mindbowser. So, here at Mindbowser, we are a health technology based consulting organization building custom software solutions for clinicians. We've been in this industry for over 13 years now, and having that said, we've created various healthcare accelerators that are solving real life challenges in terms of patient data exchange, care plans, and clinical decision making support. In this webinar today, we will be giving you a live demonstration on a FHIR built AI platform that is built on the foundation of Medplum. And at the end of this webinar, we will also be revealing a special FHIR-built sprint voucher, so stick around till the end to reveal this offer. On the screen right now, you can also see our partnership ecosystem where we have strategically listed a few of our customers that we have worked with. So let me get you introduced to our panelists for today. Joining us today is the CEO of Medplum, Reshma Kalani. Reshma, could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Thanks, Ishita. Hi, everyone. I'm Reshma, co-founder and CEO of Medplum. In a previous life, I've also been a health tech founder, was the founder of MedXT, a company acquired by Box, and I was an early employee of Meta and worked at Microsoft in a previous life. I have also, I'm a two-time YC founder and worked as a visiting group partner there for a while, and so I've worked with a lot of startups and tech companies. Today, I'm at Medplum, and we are here serving our core constituency, which are healthcare developers, and that's actually how we met the Mindbowser team. I believe they found us through our open source. So, really glad to have a time with you all today. And back to you, Ishita.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Reshma. And joining her is the project manager here at Mindbowser, Chinmay Nanavre. Chinmay, could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you, Ishita. Hello, everyone. My name is Chinmay, and I help build clinical platforms by turning concepts into real working solutions. In today's session, I'll be walking you through a live demonstration showing how MedPlum's certified FHIR-First Foundation makes it possible to build clinical applications that are functional, compliant, and scalable.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chinmay. And with us today is the CMO of Mindbowser, Manisha Khadge, who is also the moderator for today's webinar. So I'll be handing it over to Manisha now to introduce herself and kickstart this webinar. Over to you, Manisha.
Thank you, Ishita. Hello, all, and welcome to this webinar. Thank you all for joining in. I am Manisha Khadge, the Chief Marketing Officer at Mindbowser. I come with 2 decades of experience working with a lot of B2B IT services and product companies. And I specifically choose to work with companies who are purpose driven because I feel that if you're driven by the purpose, rest of the things completely fall into the place. Having said that,
Here you go.
right, sorry about that. Yes. So, since we're talking about purpose-driven approach, let's try and understand the purpose of this webinar before we get into more details. So, today's healthcare literally runs on software and technology. But if you still talk to doctors and administrators, they will tell you, the same thing, that systems works in silos, EHRs are disconnected, and they end up, stalling care. The tech workflows are so complex that either clinicians get confused or they get burned out. The third major challenge is that integration timelines. It takes months and months for you to integrate, which literally kills the innovation even before it begins. Fourth most fundamental challenge is the lack of AI readiness because the systems are built way before the generative AI came into the old forefront. So we're stuck with rigid systems, and eventually the primary and the top goal of serving patient kind of gets hampered, and it hampers the whole patient experience. That is why we are doing this webinar, as at Mindbowser and Medplum, we believe that it doesn't have to be this way. Medplum helps you build scalable, compliant, and AI-driven healthcare applications. And Mindbowser, with its expertise in Medplum as well as product engineering expertise, we turn this foundation into actual real world solutions. So today you will see how some of the companies are using Medplum to build a really inclusive patient experience, which is extremely key. Foundation of should be a foundation of any healthcare system. Second is, of course, that it cuts off go live timelines, drastically. And third is how you can start with AI first and FHIR-First architecture approach. So we will deep dive into these areas. But before we get into that, Ishita, if you could launch a quick poll
Yes,
to get the sense of the audience in terms of where they are with their current EHR setup and journey.
absolutely. I'm just launching the poll right now, so you will see it on your screens.
Okay, Ishita, do we have the results?
Yes. I'll just share the results, ending the poll now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
So interesting. So the current audience, overall, I guess 22% of them kind of say that poor interoperability, as we expected. These are the prominent challenges which we face and see. But it's interesting, Reshma, to see that 33% of them feel that cost and vendor lock-in is a major challenge. So I assume that we're doing right thing by doing this particular webinar, isn't it?
Completely agree. It sounds on topic.
All right. Okay. Great. So as per our agenda, we will start with, deep dive into what MedPlum is all about, and who can be a better person than Reshma herself, who's the CEO and co-founder of MedPlum. So Reshma, over to you. Um, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Manisha. Yes. As the co-founder and CEO of Medplum, I have a deep lived experience in building a lot of these healthcare applications. And that was one of the reasons to found Medplum. Really, you want to build a maintainable, vendor neutral system that is future proof, and that is very hard. And we believe that our open source standards based model that's extremely robust with an extremely robust API is our way to do it. So, Medplum is really the fastest path for building custom scalable healthcare applications, and that's what we specialize in. If we could go to the next slide, that'd be great. So what we focus on at Medplum, we have a very strong sense of who we are trying to appeal to. And really, we're trying to, reach the healthcare developers, like our friends at Mindbowser and elsewhere. We are a healthcare developer platform. We have a great backend interfacing SDK, and I think the kind of numbers will speak for themselves. We have a lot of downloads, projects on our hosted system, and many contributors and Discord users. So we are, as well as being a product, we are a community, and the kind of engagement and thought share of those who are building systems is what we really value and what we hope to bring to the table. And if we could go to the next slide, yeah. So healthcare applications are really hard to buy, but they're also really hard to build. If you're starting from scratch, you have to build up a huge team. It's kind of like Manisha was mentioning, the time to ROI is very high, and there's a very high maintenance cost because the regulations and the workflows change constantly. But if you buy an off-the-shelf system, you're also going to be really fighting with it. It's very rigid, and it doesn't have a lot of the interfaces that are needed to perform the workflow. So I think that came up in the poll as well. So the limited choices are really what we're here today to address. We want to provide a third path where builders can really have an efficient build that's simple and maintainable, but also get the high fidelity solution that they need. So that's our goal. And if we could go to the next slide as well, some examples of what people end up building: health record systems, population health, IoT solutions. Really, the sky is the limit. And if we could go to the next slide as well. In the Medplum world, we provide authentication, workflow, and data platform, as well as many of these, offerings that are just, you don't want to build them yourself, like certifications and your security maintenance pack, advanced observability integrations and reporting. So we provide those, and the customers and implementers are on top here, just building business logic, user interface, and clinical logic on our platform. So kind of give that good division of labor. So we are going to go through some demos, so I won't belabor this, but this is a really great option for the AI era of care, because we have all these platform features that allow the agents, co-pilots, and scribes to be incredibly effective. And I will show and not tell that. And all of the data, data store in Medplum is FHIR, so wire compatible with Epic or whichever other system you have. And here in the US, in San Francisco, is kind of standard and required by all the EHRs. It's called the FHIR G10 interface. And okay, I'm going to take over the screen here and maybe show and not tell what's going on. So this is Medplum app. You can see it says app.medplum.com is our hosted version. It's a thin layer on top of our API, which is FHIR. You can see the API here. You can do basic CRUD. So this is a data management tool. All your data is in Medplum in FHIR. You can browse the data. And this app is built on top of our React component library. This is not what you would show your end users. This is more data management for devs. But our customers, our implementers use it to build sophisticated medical applications. Here's a sample. This is Medplum Provider. It's a kind of EHR-like application, includes, lab orders, medications, all integrated and really designed for a good workflow. But this is an open source application. So if you decide that, you need a custom workflow or something like that, work with one of the implementer teams to build out your solution. So you can just use this as a base and move on. I guess this is, kind of interesting, but really where it starts to become powerful is the kind of AI applications. And as you can see, I've hooked up here my Medplum to Claude, and I just want to show you a brief demo of what's possible. So you can, let me just confirm that I have access here. Here I have hooked up, Medplum to my LLM-based workflow, and you can start to build out really agentic workflows. So So here, via the API, you can get data from, and you graph Frodo's respiratory rate. So you can pull data, do kind of complex visualizations. Here it's searching via the API. In particular, Claude is kind of cool. It can build out custom UIs for you and data viz. So this is very powerful platform feature. Takes a while to load, but it gives you a sense of what's possible. And, finally, oh, look what it can do. You can even do updates. So say you want to clean up records a bit, update Frodo's phone number. So you can do something like that, complex operations via the agent. So it's really a powerful health record system that's based off of standards. Oh, it's already updated. But so core data store, complex applications, and AI workflows all work together on a unified system. And that's kind of what we provide here at Medplum. So I'm always worried that being in healthcare IT, people will be bored. So I'm hopeful that to show you something exciting today. But maybe back to you, Manisha, for the next step of the presentation.
Thank you, Reshma. I guess you captured the whole gist of it, so I'm sure it might have been quite easy for audience to understand in terms of what exactly Medplum offers. So thank you for that in-depth demo. I hope you all are able to see my screen. So Reshma has given a very good overview in terms of how exactly Medplum works, and I just wanted to club together what Medplum and Mindbowser together bring to generate value for our customers. So we take platform foundation of Medplum, which already provides some basic and extremely important and critical features. On top of it, with our expertise in Medplum and product engineering and delivery, we built on top of it a deeper healthcare integration. It could be with Epic, Athena, Cerner's, and some of the very popular names as far as the EHR is concerned, a custom front end, or it is clinical workflows, or it is to do with workflow automations via bots, etc. Reshma gave a good demo around the AI agent piece of it. So anything and everything which you can build on top of Medplum with that clinical expertise. And what customer gets out of it is your own branded EHR system, which is specifically built for you with your custom features. So to put it in a a better conclusive way is there is no feature and functionality which you won't use. Don't end up getting a complex system, but you get a system which whose every feature and functionality you will end up utilizing because it's built the way you want it to be built. So what you exactly get, let me just summarize the whole story is that you get fully featured EHR engine, which has a built-in interoperability, be it Smart on Fire, HL7, or you name it. It is compliance ready by design, which is very fundamental part of healthcare ecosystem. So you end up getting it's your data, your infrastructure in your system. So that's the whole gist of it. Now I would like to hand it over to Chinmay to actually demonstrate one of the use case which we've been working and helping one of our customer who's been kind enough to give us approval and a go ahead to share their story. So Chinmay, over to you. I will stop sharing my screen so that you can give a quick walkthrough of what you are building using Medplum. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Manisha. So let's begin with the demonstration. So let me introduce you to Today Health. So it's a remote patient monitoring platform that we've built using Medplum. So when we started building this product, our customers' vision was very clear. They wanted a product that makes patient onboarding simple, ensures that the device sends the data and it's captured reliably, and delivers intelligence that reduces the burden on the care managers while supporting truly preventive care. So let's dive in. I'll just share my screen. All right. So this is the platform that we've built on top of Medplum that has been self-hosted on AWS Cloud. Because it's completely FHIR-based, all the data points that you see, patients, devices, and vitals are stored and exchanged in FHIR standard format. On the patient side, it's simple. They download the mobile application, connect their Bluetooth-enabled devices, and from then on, their readings flow right into the care manager's dashboard. As you can see over here, here we are looking at the care team's dashboard. And at the top, you'll see these quick insight into the patient status. For example, how many patients are critical, elevated, high, or normal. This gives the care team an immediate sense of where attention is needed the most. Now, in particular, we have this list of full patients list where each person's latest reading, their reading status, and their vitals are recorded. Now, let me deep dive into one of the patient lists. Yeah. So from this page, as you can see over here, we have Edward's records showing his demographics, assigned care team, and vitals history. Now, below you'll notice his readings history. And here's where Today Health really stands out. We've built AI directly into this workflow. The system generates summaries of the trends, proactively alerts when values go out of range, and even we have built AI-assisted care plans that help the care team provide care efficiently. So you have all your readings at a glance. At the same time, we also have a graphical format of those readings for care managers. Now, there are also some actionable steps that care managers can take. So they can add notes, they can set up an appointment, they can set up a chat with the patient, or they can send their reminders. We also have AI assisted care plans that are built with the help of AI through EHR data. Then we have the notes that the care managers can go through that any care team person would have written over here. We can calculate the time spent that they have spent on giving care to this particular patient. We can track the devices that have been assigned to the patient, the entire care team that the patient might have, and their profile details. Moving on to the next section, we have appointments. Now, scheduling and follow-ups are built right into the platform. Care managers don't need to juggle separate tools. They can set up visits, reminders, and follow-ups right directly from here. We do support audio and video calls as well. It keeps everything in place and within the patient's context. Next, we have our devices section where care managers or you can track all the devices and their assignments to different patients, different kinds of devices. So right now, Today Health currently supports blood pressure monitors, weighing scale, and pulse oximeters. And we're expanding to more devices soon. So this gives the care team a richer view of patient health without extra manual data entry. Finally, we have integrations view. Because everything is FHIR native, Today Health integrates seamlessly with major EHRs and health data sources. This means monitoring data can flow right into the systems like Epic, Cerner, Athena Health, or Apple HealthKit, fitting directly into your clinical ecosystems. So that's Today Health, a connected AI-powered FHIR-First platform that has been built for remote patient monitoring. It's built to be functional, compliant, and scalable while making patient care more proactive and connected. And at the core of it all is Medplum, because Medplum provides a certified open source FHIR native foundation. We've been able to build this quickly, staying fully interoperable and ensure compliance right from day one. So now you've seen how we turn Medplum's AI-ready FHIR's first foundation into a working RPM platform. That's all from my side. Now I'll hand over back to Manisha. Thank you.
Chinmay, can I interject in here real quick? If you want to bring your screen back up, can I throw a little
Yeah,
wrench in your presentation?
sure.
So one thing that is maybe useful to note here, can you go to the integration?
Mm-hmm.
For the group, it might not be very obvious because it's like hard to see here, but these connections are done via Medplum bot. So like Medplum has an integrated, it's kind of like a built-in Lambdas system, and it can allow you to, connect to another API and bring back the data or do whatever logic you need. So this is kind of a developer-friendly paradigm, and thank you for showcasing it here, Chenmai. I think it's not very visual. I think APIs are tricky to kind of show people how it works, but similar to the MCP, there's a lot of the plumbing is built for you. So like a regular React dev can be very productive, or TypeScript aware dev can be very productive versus learning all the intricacies of these various APIs. Thank you for letting me derail back to the regular programming.
All right. Yes.
All right, thank you, team. That was quite interesting. I see that there are a lot of questions coming in, so we will certainly address at least few of them, if not all of them, but we will ensure that we get back to each and every person who's asked specific questions. There have been some customers who have reached out to us prior to the webinar, and we will ensure that we address all of those queries and questions after this webinar. All right, so Reshma has given a good overview about what Medplum is all about. You've also seen the live use case as to how exactly we build on top of Medplum. And now, I guess the most key and important aspect is the deployment models, which gives you some idea in terms of what are the different options available for you to pick and choose. And I would certainly ask Reshma to maybe chip in and share her take and also maybe talk a little bit about the enterprise edition.
Certainly, Manisha. So I think, we want to have an offering for organizations of all sizes to engage with the platform. We have a software as a service, app.medplum.com that you can just sign up for, really lightweight implementation. It's managed, it provides patches, security, etc. And you can get access to our integration framework, the bots, as well as pre-built integrations for medications, lab, etc. So we have that offering on our SaaS. As for the enterprise edition for self-hosters, maybe we could go to the next slide, Ishita. But one thing to note for the enterprise edition is for a very kind of at scale organization, this is well suited. It has advanced compliance and security. You may want to pursue high trust, or you need your ONC certified health record system that you can use for your incentive programs. So we support those things, as well as integrations to many of the common things that are required, like a clearinghouse, labs, medications, etc. And the performance and scale of the solution is really there. Deployments in the tens of millions of patients are well supported. So those are key elements. One thing I'll also plug is we have a forward deployed engineering program. So if you are on our enterprise tier, forward deployed engineers, similar to, I don't know if you all have heard of Palantir, you kind of work with an engineer on your implementation who is very familiar with all of these complex healthcare IT systems and can help troubleshoot and work through the complex change management that is needed to be successful. So we're very proud of this program. Hope to invite anyone who's interested to reach out to us at hello@medplum.com. I think it can be a good fit for many organizations. Thanks, Manisha.
Thank you, Reshma. That's precisely what Medplum is known for. Flexibility and robust model. So, and it's kind of meant for every segment in healthcare to further explore. I don't know, my screen is acting really funny. It's not moving. My apologies. All right. Okay. So, since we've come together, we've highlighted, overall capabilities around Medplum and what Mindbowser does. We wanted to give you a very high level overview in terms of how exactly we work with you into different steps. So phase one is primarily we certainly need to understand what your use case is, because that's what this combination means, is building something which is yours as per your need. So understanding and identifying the workflow and user integration requirement is extremely a key phase. Once that is done, then we do the core setup and module development on top of Medplum with its flexibility, with our experience around integration, be it other EHRs or be it labs or patient applications. We do the integration and testing, and then you're ready to deploy the solution. You can choose any deployment model which we just spoke about, and you're ready to go live. So at the end, I just want to mention that since we have kind of come together, and with Medplum, we are offering a 1 to 2 week proof of concept to the first 5 people who will basically register for the same. So this will typically give you more like a mini prototype based kind of a workflow idea, where we will use a simple Medplum backend setup, AI assisted workflows, which we just showcase an FHIR data integration with either the dummy data or a live source, depending on your use case, and you will have something, to showcase either internally or to your customers. This is only for first 5 and first come first basis. My team will reach out to you with all the details and how to avail this offer after this webinar, along with other assets. All right, so I guess it's time for question and answer, and I see that there are a lot of questions coming in. So maybe I can just pull them up and ask. All right, so Reshma, maybe you can take this up. So is the data model entirely FHIR, or did you have to create some custom extensions?
Yeah, good question. So the data model is primarily FHIR, FHIR-R4, and that's the base. We support profiles and profile extensions. So you can, let me just flash a visual here. If you load in your profiles, you can kind of see them here, and you can like extend and customize FHIR using our profiling. So in the base FHIR, for example, there isn't this kind of extensions, but the profiling system allows you to extend. We've also made several custom resources as to support complex authentication and access controls. For example, we have access policies. So you can segment data based on somebody's role. So like non-physicians cannot finalize diagnostic report. Like we have a special FHIR resource that can govern those type of transactions. So primarily FHIR, highly extensible given using profiles, and you can kind of see and manage your profiles via the API or in the UI. And then, we continue to evolve and add on a case-by-case basis additional features. We're community driven. So if you want to like ask about a specific use case, or you want to propose, for example, a new search parameter, go ahead and go to our repository and you can do so. It's github.com. Medplum is our organization. Hopefully that answers your question.
All right. Chinmay, this one is specifically for you. Can you do steady implementation, Stripe Connect payment for practitioners, Apple ID login into Medplum mobile? So maybe you can take it up, and if Reshma has anything to add, that'll be great.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So I'll take this question, but I am very sure that, definitely Reshma would have some more details to add on it. But yeah, to answer the question, definitely yes, we do have steady implementations supported directly onto Medplum, and we have experienced that we've built those implementations into some of the other products that we have. Also regarding the Apple login, so we do support that, and actually Medplum does support that through external identity providers. So yeah, definitely mobile apps can definitely have Apple login using Medplum. Yeah. So Reshma, would you like to add some?
Totally. So in general, would like viewers here to open their mind and consider like the answer is probably yes. Can it be integrated? Medplum is an open system, and we have our integration framework bots, which has a lot of features that allows you to build your custom integrations. In our open source repo, we do have an example of a Stripe integration that can, it's more like a template that you would use to customize to your workflow. Again, depending on what you're billing for, et cetera, you might want to like do some tweaks, but, and similar with Steady, clearinghouse integration is a core feature of an EHR. There's a big workflow element to it. Prepare your claim, make sure that you provide the correct documentation, and then submit to the clearinghouse and handle the responses. So those are also supported. Again, they do require some programming because each workflow is different. Each service offering is different. But yes, the answer is yes.
All right, great. So maybe we can take a couple of more before we kind of wind up. My main focus is in radiology. Can it be integrated with DICOM and pixel data, and how can I benefit from Medplum?
Oh, good question. So Medplum is, we do have quite a few customers who are doing radiology workflows. One notable thing that, let me see if I can pull up the article on it. We have recently certified IRA, which is like integrated radiology reporting applications. I'll just flash my screen here. Basically, it is a workflow protocol called FHIR-First, which synchronizes state between the PACS and the radiology viewer for radiology applications. So this is a cool radiology workflow. In general, the Medplum does support binary files and therefore can be used to store data. We do not yet have our adapter. It's called the Medplum agent, which connects to on-premise systems supporting DICOM. It does support HL7v2, but we do plan to support DICOM over time and load those. So that would be like an integrated backend that could support DICOM, CCDA, FHIR, and HL7v2, all of the major medical protocols. So that's really what we target. We are very interested in new implementers working in radiology. We think there's a lot of potential applications there because it's a very data intensive specialty. I'm happy to take outreach on that as well if you want to email us at hello@medplum.com.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Maybe a last one. How does AI native FHIR workflow reduce onboarding time to disparate data sources, and can it support digital twins? I assume the answer is yes, but if you'd like to elaborate further, that will probably answer.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we'll take it in the reverse. I mean, digital twins are more like an implementation thing. We have a lot of apps generating synthetic data with different parameters on the platform. I would say I'm far from a domain expert on that, but in general, with the SDK control, believe there's lots of possibilities in that regard. We do have customers in the life sciences and CRO, as well as other kind of non-care applications. The first part of the question was around AI assisted onboarding. Could you say it one more time, Manisha?
Yeah, the question is, how does AI native FHIR workflow reduces the onboarding time to different data sources, and can it really support digital twin is the question.
Okay. Well, I think those are actually two separate questions. So I think we talked about the digital twins briefly, but one of the things that we see as key in Medplum is there's almost infinite need for new interfaces, new data flows, etc. There's no end to what systems people want to connect. And because Medplum is open source and we have a really well documented SDK, building these interfaces assisted by Cursor, Windsurf, and the common AI tools is very popular and very effective. For example, you want to bring on a new ADT feed or SIU feed that might be bespoke, a little bit bespoke to an organization, but largely the same as others. This is a great use of the LLMs to speed the onboarding and effective delivery of those developments. So our kind of open source repo, we're actually going to release a webinar on vibe coding your EHRs and EHR integrations. I think whoever asked that may be interested to attend that as well. The kind of repetitive nature of these integrations lead well to using LLMs to assist in the development of the last mile of the interfaces.
Makes sense. All right, Chinmay, so there's one question for you, which is curious how long it took you to build what you just demoed.
Yeah,
So that's
definitely.
always, yeah, the timeline is something very tricky, although, we certainly built it much faster and better. I mean, before you answer the question, I just want to talk about it, but it's extremely, extremely use case specific. And that's why when I showcased exactly how we engage with the customer, the first phase where we understand your use case and workflow actually defines, how much time will it take. But I can certainly guarantee that we do faster than, a typical set of scenario where you're trying to build it from scratch, or less complex. As I concluded that there is no feature or no functionality which you are not going to use, is because you'll end up building those features and those functionalities which you are going to use. Yeah, over to you, Chinmay.
Absolutely. All right. So the demo that you saw was a demo environment that we had specifically built for this webinar, but the actual product has certainly a little bit more features which are, more comprehensive, that suits customer needs or the product needs much better. But yeah, depending that, since we had a ready-made boilerplate that Medplum already had the backend ready for us, we certainly speed up the development time by a lot. So the entire product that we have shown you with along with some other features, we only took around, what say, 14 to 16 weeks to build that. So I would say the development speed was, uh, quite fast, but what helped was that, Medplum had the infrastructure ready for us, and then we had to build on top of it depending on our requirements. Yeah.
Thanks, Jinmay. That's a kind thing to say. I mean, at Medplum side, we are heavily investing in our SDK, in our documentation, and we have a community to really try and help people parallelize, right? Like, I think if you have just a single threaded implementation, it can take a long time. And if you're able to like work off of a platform approach, can speed things, as well as having, reference implementations for specific things available. We hope to provide service on that front.
Absolutely. Makes sense. All right. So I see that there are a lot of questions coming in. I'm not too sure if we'll be able to address all of them, but we certainly promise that we'll get back to each and every person who's asked the question, and ensure that your query is addressed. Thank you so much to all the panelists for answering the question. Over to you, Ishita.
Thank you. So, yes, on that note, I would like to conclude. A huge thank you to our expert speakers. Thank you, Reshma, Manisha, and Chinmay, for your time and sharing your knowledge with our audience today. And thank you to all our attendees for joining in today and your active participation throughout. As promised, as the end of this webinar, we will be getting in touch with you in terms of the webinar assets as well as the webinar recording. And we will also keep you posted on the next series of this webinar. So thank you everyone once again and have a good day ahead. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, team.